Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi, I'm Dale Beaumont and welcome to Secrets Exposed. This is the show that takes you up close and personal with world-leading business experts. And our topic for this interview is why it pays to create your own web TV show. That coming up in just a moment. My special guest today is internet entrepreneur Janet Beckers, and our topic for this interview is why it pays to create your own web TV show. Janet, thanks for joining us.
Hi Dale, it's great to be here.
All right, we're going to be talking about web TV, such an exciting subject, and we're going to be talking about how anybody, and we mean anybody, can really do what it is that we're doing right now, which is to create great video content which can grow your business. Is that right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so tell us, how did you first get started in the internet, and what inspired you to dive into this new area?
Well, the internet, I wasn't actually a business owner at all when I first started out. I was a nurse, and then I had been lecturing in nursing at university. Then I went to go and have babies, and I did not want to go back into an environment that was, that had disease, that was unhealthy, and that I was working weird shifts. So I started looking around about what I could do.
And you didn't have any technical sort of background?
Oh, heavens no, nothing, nothing like that. My extent was I'd used email, and I had thought, I've heard about using the internet, maybe that's something I could do from home. So that was the extent of me going into my very first internet business, which was building an internet art gallery, because I was studying art at TAFE to keep me sane.
The furthest thing away from the internet you can imagine.
I know. Well, it was the internet. I was selling original artworks on the internet. Now, that is a really, really good way to go broke, I can tell you. Especially doing it 10 years ago. Tip number one. It's easier now, but 10 years ago, people weren't looking online to buy art. So it was not the easiest way to start. So I ended up having like the largest internet art gallery in Australia. I had artists all around Australia. I did make it profitable. It was really, really hard work.
So it was a struggle. It worked, and you started to learn about building websites and taking online payments, and you learned about email marketing.
Oh, look, honestly, Dale, I learned how to make every single mistake that you could possibly make. So now when I work with people and I'm helping them to set up their businesses, and they go, oh, look, I feel like an idiot. I spent $50,000 getting special software made to run my website. And I go, done that. Or if they'll say, I'm trying to work out how to use all this technical software or all of those things, I've had to make every mistake along the road, because what I didn't do, because I hadn't been in business, is I didn't go and seek out mentors. I didn't go and find people who'd already done the right things. So I just worked it all out from trial and error. So it means that I think I've made every mistake and learnt from them.
Let me ask you this question. Why did you persist? Why did you keep going? Because there's a lot of people that get involved in the internet, and their first opportunity isn't a raving success like you expect or hope it to be. Why did you keep going and persist and get to where you are today?
You know what? That's probably been the topic of a lot of therapy. I think probably two sides to it. One is, even though I had been, I was working quite successfully in my career with nursing and in academia, but I was always too entrepreneurial. I was always trying to change the system. I was always the one that was coming along to meetings going, I've got a much better idea. Let's do this. But in those sorts of systems, it does not encourage entrepreneurship. So I was always frustrated. And the thing that I loved, even though it was really a struggle, I loved the learning. I loved that I got little wins, and I loved that I was in control. That, if I stuffed up, it was because of me, and it wasn't because I didn't try and I didn't learn. At least I had control.
So after the art gallery business, where did you go to next?
Well, then I decided, I think I better start going to some internet marketing conferences and actually learn how to market. That should have been step number one. Yeah. Now, when I went to my first conference, I looked there and I thought, wow. So you don't have to sell one-off original artworks. I heard about information products where I could create something once and sell it over and over. light bulb moment. So then I started really learning as much as I could about that. Through that process, what I did notice was when I was going to all these conferences is there were just no chicks on stage. It was all men. And when you'd go outside into the women's loos, when we'd all be lining up, the big conversation was, you know what? I need some role models. I can't relate to all of these men. Their life is so different to my reality. Where are the women? So that gave me my idea for my first internet business that was my first project, I suppose. Meanwhile, I had been doing lots of little ones, testing things out. But and that was the idea of, you know what? If I can find the most successful women in the world who've created success online, and I can interview them, will this work? You know, will people want to know it? Now, because of my first experience, where I learnt so much about what I should have done instead to make that first business successful, I was not going to just jump in and just go on a hunch. So what I did was my market research. And this is the one thing that I find a lot of entrepreneurs really don't do well, is they don't take the time to actually talk to the people who are going to be their customers. So this was about 7 years ago, and so what I did was, it kind of sounds really stalky, is I went to all these internet marketing conferences. When I mentioned that there were all these women lined up in the loos, I went along with an MP3 recorder along the queue of women lining up in the toilets saying, if I can find the most successful women in the world, what do you want me to ask them? And what's your biggest frustration? What's not being met for you now in growing your business online? So I did that for close on 12 months.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I just thought I'm not going to invest that much time and money and energy again unless I know it's going to work. And I had been advised by every mentor that I could grab hold of that it wasn't going to work.
So do your market research and also talk to the consumer, because a lot of people think, what's a hot product that I can sell?
Yep.
And they just focus on the product and they don't focus on the people buying the product, right?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. You forget about the product. You've got to work out, okay, who is it that I'm going to be working with? Who do I get satisfaction out of working with? What floats my boat? What's going to keep me motivated? Because it's going to be hard work. It's not just like this and all of a sudden you've got a successful business, as you know. So you've got to know it's something that you want to work with those people anyway. And then take the time to get in their mind, understand them. And then they'll tell you what the product is.
So you identified a market, you understood them, you spent 12 months researching and asking them all the questions, and then what happened next? How did this business then develop and grow?
Well, the interesting thing was at that time, had heard about telesummits, but they weren't very common. Not like now we're podcasting, and we'll talk about podcasting later, is very common. So I thought, okay, I'm going to find the most successful women. I'm going to ask them if I can interview them, and I will run it as a live telesummit, and I'll go for about 7-8 weeks. And then I'll just see how it goes. So I had to learn, how do I run a telesummit? So I actually announced the dates, made the sales letter, and then I thought, I better go and find out how to interview people and what the technology is. I know somebody out there will know what to do.
And just help me with the language. Telesummit could be like a teleconference or a webinar or...
So what it was is it was originally going to be 8 people where I would interview them for an hour, and I would do that on software that was teleconferencing software, which allowed us two to have a conversation and other people to listen. Thousands of people could listen.
And it was just mainly audio at that time?
All audio, only audio. And that's how I built it. And so basically sitting in the back of one of those rooms at the conferences, I thought, it just struck me that all of the people who were on stage, they all had these amazing stories of, I used to live in a rolled up newspaper in the middle of the road, like they'd done it tough and they'd got successful. And then I thought, what, the only thing that they've done that I haven't done, that's going to mean that me even approaching the most successful women when I didn't have anything to offer, how was it going to work? Is if I made the decision like they did, that if I had 2 ways of doing something, one way that, was in my comfort zone, and I could do it, and it would get a result. Or I could do something that just scared the life out of me, that really pushed me out of my comfort zone. And if it worked, the result would be so much better. That if I always had that choice, whenever I had that choice, I would always choose the scary zone. And as soon as I made that decision and I really went, right, I'm going to go to the top people I can find, approach them first. Decided to put myself down as I'm the 8th person being interviewed, talking about how I built a list of thousands in 8 short weeks, and I hadn't even launched yet. So I had to have done it. So as soon as I did those scary things, all of the opportunities started coming in. I had people contacting me asking, can I pay you money to mentor? I won awards. I won Australian Marketer of the Year as a result of the techniques that I used. Everything happened really, really quickly, and within 12 months, I was up on the stage.
We're going to get onto the topic of creating a web TV show in just a moment,
Yep.
but what was the result of this enterprise around interviewing all these successful businesswomen? Did it work, and what happened?
It worked so well that the 8-week project, I ended up doing an interview per week for 2 years.
Wow.
Because the women started coming to me, these beautiful, successful women started approaching me saying, wow, I hear you've built a wonderful community, you've built this platform, I would like to be in front of that. So,
And people may be wondering, how did you make money from it? What did you do?
Yep, the way that I made money is people could come and listen to the interviews for free. If they wanted to get the recordings and the transcripts, then they could pay for a membership. So it was only like $40 a month. Back then, this is 7 years ago, people couldn't get interviews as accessible as you can now through podcasting. So it took off really, really well. But the thing that kept people was the sense of community, because I always would give little challenges at the end of each interview, challenging people to do something in their own business and share it and tell me, and I would shine the light on them. That was the thing that made it grow.
And this became an internet business. All these sales were then made online, and so you just had money coming into your bank account every month?
The whole thing, everything has been internet-based, because I had
and you did all this
young
from
children.
home without an office and with young children. Do you want to just talk a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all been done at home. My husband, he didn't sleep very much for the first few weeks of me launching everything, so I roped him in to help me with the techie stuff, which he had to learn himself. So I've got young children. In fact, one of my daughters now at 18 and my son's 17. So the first business I started when they were just starting school. And now Wonderful Web Women, which has now evolved into a much bigger business, has been going. So yeah, I'm there every morning for them when they go to school. I'm there every afternoon when they come home. I go down.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.